rights and human relations throughout those municipalities, Maplewood, Oakdale, and that's detailed on my item number 4 on my application. And the like, there's just a lot that can be done from that perspective. Networking with the municipalities, looking for model cities and municipalities that have done something like that. Why reinvent the wheel?
Okay. Thank you.
What do you think will be the major challenge in reestablishing the Human Rights Commission in Maplewood?
Well, it's been disbanded since 2005, is my recollection, and so it's just a matter of getting it up and running and getting the vision and the core values that the City Council wants to bestow upon us, and then breaking that down into action steps and milestones to forward that agenda.
Thank you.
As a commissioner, you could be involved in facilitating issues that may arise between individuals and/or businesses in the community regarding housing, employment, public accommodations, and/or services. What experiences and skills qualify you to perform this task?
Just a lot of life's experiences and my own educational background. One of the things that I work for West Publishing, Westlaw, and you must all be familiar with that. I can't imagine you would be sitting behind that desk if you weren't. But I always, take a position of, what does the law say, and how do we uphold that, and how do we enforce that? And the human relations aspect of that is some of where the gray area comes in, some of the touchy-feely, and you work through it. As I had experienced previously when I sat on the board.
All right.
I think I'm the only one here who's been through this before with Jeff.
Yeah, hi Kathleen.
Hi. Okay, now this is a little bit different spin. We know what your experiences are from before and your work experience, but I'm asking you to look a little broader. Mm-hmm. Based on your life experiences and your understanding of the mission of this commission, if you had the opportunity to set one goal or major program, aside from collaboration,
okay,
for the Human Rights Commission, what would it be?
You stumped me. Okay. Well, the number one thing that is pretty glaringly obvious to me that was needed previously that existed but wasn't as visible as it should have been was awareness. How and what that looks like would be something that board would have to sit upon and deliberate again with the direction of the council.
Thank you.
Could you expand on that just a little bit? So awareness on whose part?
Right. Everybody's, from the common citizen to the council and its members. For instance, I became a charter member of the diversity committee that I currently sit on at West, my current employer, and the first year it was put together, it was all about PR, public awareness. We need diversity. How can we do this? And a lot of it was information. We did Jeopardy quizzes on, in what year did Minnesota become a state? Who's the president of Mexico? And celebrating diversity as it is. In the second year, I was rather adamant, having had a fair amount of experience at the company, chairing the diversity planning committee, which was company-wide, is we need engagement from the people that are sitting in chairs, the folks that are in the trenches. They need to engage. So, for instance, in that corporate environment, we brought in diversity speakers, And this is a heavily metriced call center, so it's not easy to get people off the phone to do these things, to take part. And I said, it was a VP, senior VP, who wanted this. I said, Bob, put your money where your mouth is. Either you want diversity or you don't want it. If you want diversity, then allow these people to engage and attend this, and take a random number, 5 out of the 200 people sitting in the call center. 10 people get to go to one item at least once every 2 years, and the workforce management can keep track of these metrics very easily with the push of a button. And so something like that, again, I don't know how and what it would look like, but that's what I see the commission to be at some future time.
That then is the end of our formal questions. Do you have any questions that you'd like to ask us at all?
Yes.
Okay.
How many interview rounds?
How many what?
Interview rounds.
I think there's a
Oh,
dozen applicants.
We're just doing it.
Oh, just this one
Right.
round. Oh, okay,
Right.
okay, cool.
Yep.
And what are you looking for on the calendar as far as when this commission will be seated?
Ms. Guilfoyle just went over that for us, I believe, early next year.
Oh,
In January.
perfect.
We have another set of interviews on November 1st, and then the council will vote on the members, and then we'll contact you and then have the first meeting in January.
Oh, perfect. Okay, good way to start the new year. And let's see here. Can I ask how many candidates in the pool?
A dozen.
A dozen, okay. And let's see, there was another question here. Oh, when will I learn the results of this?
Well, shortly after we do the final interviews, I would say during the week after that.
Okay.
And so it is our next meeting. We're doing it in the workshop before, so that'd be 2 weeks. And so in a span of 2 to 3 weeks from now, you would know.
Okay.
We are doing a ranking system, so it's really, at least in theory, as soon as we do the last interview, the selections will all be done because we're doing a forced ranking system.
Right.
Sure, I understand. Okay.
Mr. Lannis?
I have a question that's not on the list, but it's related specific to him. About,
Go ahead. We have 5 minutes.
I'm open.
Yeah, we can do follow-ups.
well, and the reason I ask is, as I read through your piece, I know that you had served on the commission before, and you're now a resident of
St. Paul.
St. Paul, and we had, in consideration, found that we needed to have outside experience, maybe perhaps as a reason to just have a broader spectrum of what this commission could be to allow those outside of Maplewood, which is a unique position. And so maybe you can talk about, what is it that attracts you to commit and to serve Maplewood as a non-resident?
Right, good question. And that was actually a question that I had in the back of my mind. Is there a residency requirement? I don't even remember when I last served, if there was at the time. But when I moved out of Maplewood in 2006, I only moved 2 blocks from its borders. I continue to shop, go to church. My father lives in Maplewood. I'm at the community center at least 3 times a week. So I may have physically moved only 2 blocks from the border, but my heart never left it. And my intention is to, take an interest in this, both with my city, and I have attended some of their meetings just as an interested citizen. And maybe a footnote to that, that's how I was appointed to the commission previously, is that I attended as a citizen of Maplewood for 5 months, and then somebody stepped down and they did an application call, and I applied and won the beauty contest, as it were.
I also have just a brief follow-up question. Do you see the fact that you were on the old commission as a help or a hindrance? And I'm just thinking that, it could be with this one that we'll want to maybe head some different directions, do some things differently. And so here's my question.
Sure, absolutely. It's both. And it can be both, but it's, at the wisdom of, I have to rest with the wisdom of the council and their decision.
Okay. Anything else?
I have nothing else.
Well, we want to thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you.
We'll let you know just as soon as we do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
So now we can review upcoming here. We have Lori Simon. Hello, Ms. Simon.
Hello.
How are you this evening?
A little nervous. I'm all right.
Yeah, you shouldn't be.
We don't bite.
I know
I think-
almost everybody
Yeah, I
here.
was going to say, you're fairly familiar with the group. Want to thank you for, one, putting in your application, and two, taking time this afternoon to come in for this interview. The process that we'll be using is that we have 5 scripted questions that we ask everyone. Mr. Nephew is not participating because he has a close family member who has applied for the commission, and so he felt that he would err on the safe side and just sit out the interviews. But Mr. Antonin will be asking a question, so we have 5 questions, but it'll just be the 4 council members casting the ballots.
Okay.
And if we have time at the end, we're allotting 15 minutes for the interview. Then there'll be the opportunity for you to ask us questions, or there might be that we have a follow-up question that we want to pursue or something like that.
That sounds fair.
Okay? And so we are just going down in numerical, there we go. Thank you. Order of the questions. And the first one is by Mr. Antonin.
Thank you. Please explain any background or experience that you may have had in any of the following areas: public housing, civil rights, veterans issues, education, employment, or social work.
Well, first of all, I'm a graduate of the Fordham University with a master's in social work, so I do have a background in the field of social work. I've been a social worker for over 30 years. I just retired from Hennepin County after almost 30 years of service there. The last 10 years at Hennepin County, I worked in our housing unit, and I was responsible for the board and lodges that were located in Hennepin County to make sure that they were providing good services to the clients that we served. So I'm familiar with a lot of housing issues. Also, I was responsible for several years for the contracts we had with our shelter system, and we had 3 major shelters in Hennepin County. So I'm fairly familiar with housing issues. Employment. I was very active in AFSCME, and I helped negotiate 3 contracts with the county. So I'm familiar with labor issues and fairness, and so I think, the other areas, education, I'm not an expert in education, civil rights, just, I would say in terms of just knowledge, just general knowledge about civil rights. I wouldn't say I'm an expert either, but I would say definitely on housing and labor issues, I have a pretty strong